Alright guys, welcome back, another video. Cold Monday morning. Let's go to the weather wall. Hey guys. 12 degrees. It actually feels a little bit colder than that, I can tell you. It's that cold I had to pre-warm the coffee mug this morning, so I've learnt my lesson. If you just joined us, welcome along, or joined me. I keep saying us and we. I am building a 1916 Sopwith Camel, my version if you like, aluminium, metal, wood, fabric. Let's get into it. So I got my parts ready, just waiting for the welder to call me up. 4 tabs for the fuel tank and my footstep, which I've all made up. How to keep your friends happy, I guess. I just knocked this up. I know the welder's probably got square magnets or something, but that will just hold that nicely, square in the horizontal plane, or you know what I mean. Then we square it up this way and get a tack weld on that with my nice coping. So anyway, a couple of nails and a bit of wood, made that up. We'll get onto the covering. Just got a couple little jobs to tidy up. So that's my kit there, ready to go for when I get the call, including some clamps and some steel as to hold it, how I can hold everything. Now, covering. I always seem to be doing painting and finishing in the middle of winter. I've decided I'm going to just knock up a couple of quick brackets there and there, just purely because my covering's too short, this scrap piece anyway, and it'll just be nice to follow along. I'll cover this piece first, then cover the real pieces, and burn this, melt this, wreck this, whatever, right up to the paint, I think, even to test my spray gun. So I think it's worth having a piece on the side that I can test on. That's the plan with that. Parts are almost ready to go. I've read up on the Stewart Systems. I just need to wash my hands, give these a scuff, as if you're going to paint them, I guess. It's around the perimeter and wherever the fabric's going to touch. I'll give it a light scuff, clean it off with wax and grease remover. Windex also works well. Clean that off. What I find is when you clean it off, you want to clean it enough so when you wipe it with the white paper towel, you don't get any grey stuff on it. Then you know you're clean. And we'll get into that. Now, just for a laugh, this is how the build video puts the aeroplane together. So my parts basically drill, rivet, and like race through it like this. Well, you missed, doesn't matter, figure 8 that. Another rivet, gusset's crooked. Hurry up, this guy's here for 2 days. Rivet. Done. So I guess that's how they get the aeroplane framed up in 4 days. Right, just so everyone's on the same page, I just did that really quickly like that. This is not part of the aeroplane, this is a test piece. I was just showing you how the video assembles the aircraft. So if you do buy one of the kits, that's the instruction method you will get, as opposed to, what I've done in about 100 other videos. So I'm not saying it's right, each to their own. I know which way I do it. Now we'll get some glue on this and we'll start to cover it up, lay out some fabric and cut some, or I might cut one piece. I know what will happen if I go nuts and cut everything. Maybe I cut them all too small and you're in a bit of trouble. So slow as you go, We'll get some glue on. All right, so not getting too far ahead of myself, I've got a bead of glue on my test piece, which is drying, but in this temperature, I think it's going to take quite some time. Just cleaning up my piece here, horizontal stab. Gives you time to think about what you're doing. I need to be able to remember which is the top, and if you remember back to previous videos, there's one rivet. The only reason that's there is to tell me where the top is, because once it's covered, don't forget, it's going to be symmetrical, but there is, you know, a slight difference. Well, in the hinges and everything like that, in my building it's not perfect, so it only goes on one way. Cleaning it up. What did I find? You know, masking tape, residue and stuff like that, that all came off. Good chance just to go over any rivets. You know, the rag will stick under any rivet heads if you like, but just get all the, got most of the rubbish off. You can see a few spots there. And it gets a nice sort of dull, you know, scratched up look about it, or polished, I guess, like a kettle. Looks a bit like a kettle. So now I need to mask this up. So tape it up. Take my time with that. Tape it up, set it aside, or run a bead of glue around it, and then I'll probably, you know, get a production line. So cleaning bench, if you like. Sounds a bit wanky, but these guys are just chilling by the fireplace over here, having a cigar. Finn and Rudder are getting very close. Elevator's on his own. Yeah, I'll clean them down here, put them on the bench. So while I'm waiting for one to dry, I can cut some covering or something for the next piece. The drying process, I can just see, is going to take me forever. I might be able to just hit it with the hairdryer or the heat gun that I've got there. As you can see, I'll just wait for the sheen to disappear. The book says you should be able to touch it with no transfer. That's when it's dry. Okay, just starting, taping up. Just got to remember what the reason for the tape. The temptation is to cut it nice and neat, but you sort of want it, you know, around the corners, because that's why it's on there. Like here, for argument's sake, I'm just going to leave that hang rather than tuck it around, because then, you know, you sort of just, yeah, you're trying to protect the edge, I guess. I'm not sure whether I'm going to run tape on every rib. I probably should. But I'm just getting the impression now while I'm standing here doing this, it's probably going to take me an hour to mask all this up the way I'm going. I know other people would do it quicker. Yeah. And the more what I'm finding, the more you muck with this, the worse it gets. So get it on, leave it, because the edges will fluff up real quick on you. All right, that's one side wrapped. I'm a little bit pedantic with this, but I'm in no hurry. I just moved it over to the paper so it doesn't peel my hard work on the other side. And then we'll wrap this side. My glue's now dry over here. Once this is wrapped, I'll probably cut the fabric, then run a bead of glue, then muck around with my template while the glue dries on here, and start prepping the elevators. It's a good process, but you can't be in a hurry. That's all right. All my hard work, I want it to show in the finished product. Okay, that's the tail plane, in my opinion, ready to cover. I'll run some glue around the edge now, let that dry. Actually, no, first I'm going to cut the fabric. I'll just add a quick, you know, try and lay out the fabric as efficient as you can. But anyway, we'll see how we go. It would be nice to cut the fuselage sides and use those pieces. I think Paul mentioned that in New Zealand. I've measured it up, and I think like a triangle piece there will be the offcut will be the other side. That's the plan. Bit of wastage going to happen here. But I unroll the fabric. It's interesting actually, that weighs a considerable amount, how much fabric's going to add to the airframe. But I'll roll it out, cut out 2 pieces so they're ready to go. Then I'll iron my fabric on my test piece, I think. Alright, so I've cut the first bit of, or both bits of fabric for the tailplane. Lesson learnt. I've got some gunge on here from the sticky tape. I'm just trying with some thinners just to clean that off. See some marks. Probably should have checked it a bit better, but I wanted to sort of use it efficiently. Best to try and get that off now than ruin a covering job. So I should have checked that before I cut it. Lesson learnt, we'll move on. Okay, so I've laid up a bead of glue around the edge. I think I've got Top Gun on the radio. 2 o'clock. I knock off at 3, so I think I'll just leave that till tomorrow. Obviously where the tape is a little bit darker in areas. The glue does bead a bit. I'm just going to pick up on my cleaning and scuffing. So this is good coverage, and that's sort of pretty poor back here. But it's okay. Glue will stick to glue. And bear in mind, I'm covering the bottom surface, so I've glued the top. Those aero modelers amongst us, you know, you iron each rib and then do the base. Nope, we just do the 4 sides. That way when you put the iron here on the other side, it pulls from way down, you know, it pulls everything, so everything slides around. You basically just do the 4 sides. I've marked this so that I don't put covering on there tomorrow. So the covering will be like this. Covering's on the bottom. Pull it around. I've ironed the edges down. Now I've put the glue on, and then you wipe the glue off with with the rags in the bin and paper towel. And then it goes this sort of a lighter colour, but it forces the glue in and also gets the globs off. So this will be my practice piece. Before I go, I'll iron that down tight. Just give the glue 10 minutes or so to tack off, and we'll crack into that. So I might start taping the elevators up, clean the elevators, tape them up. Now 45 minutes before I go home, so I'm at that point, I don't want to rush it. You know, I could put the covering on and quickly, I think I'll leave that. Not sure if that's the right thing to do. I'm sure the glue will reactivate again tomorrow. Yeah, go home and watch some Stewart Systems videos. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm just going to tape up. I'm sick of the elevator. The elevator's next, but I'll tape up these guys. Should be relatively quick and easy. All right, guys, back in the hangar. Freezing cold. We'll go to the weather wall. 5 degrees. Beautiful. Got the double hat with the beanie and the jacket. So the welder's coming down. I think I showed you this. I made a little bracket to hold the piece for the foot rest, footstep, and we'll put 4 tangs on the front. Got him a table. I'll run the power lead out. Parts are ready to go, and some brackets to hold those parts on. Run the lead out. I was going to walk this down, but he's doing a job on a windshield next door, so he's going to call in here, which is nice. Just have to be ready to go. Because it's so cold, I might do some taping to start with, and then we'll warm up the iron and lay the fabric on the bottom side of the tailplane. Had plenty of visitors lately, which is great. Also means I don't get much done. So I'm just about to lay the fabric on the table and roll it up around, and we'll iron it on. I believe the glue will still be okay after a day. If not, we just add more glue. See some of my cleaning, the glue actually, you know, it's beading, I guess, on the aluminium. Where it's clean, you get a nice coat. Where it's not clean, it sort of beads a bit. So learn as we go. I'm going into town today to get some rivets. Asked a few people, they weren't too sure, but I'm going to get the wide-headed rivets just for the job that they're doing, and we'll get some fabric on this today, hopefully both sides. We'll see how that goes. All right, putting the covering on. Just make allowances for the hinges. I know it doesn't look pretty, but it's going to get there in the end. Done the leading edge, and we'll work our way around the tips. then we rub the glue in, then we cut the edge and wrap it right around. So this will all get with the pinking shears, and I'll tuck it right around. But what I'll do first is run the glue on. That way the glue gives me a nice sort of dry edge and crisp edge to cut, so you don't get these frayed edges. Just going along slowly, sticking it all down. A bit like coverall on a model aircraft. Adhesive on first, iron, then the iron activates the adhesive. Okay, going well. What have I learnt so far? Slow and steady wins the race. It's going to take a while. You probably need shares in paper towel. I just learnt then, while I'm doing the other side, so the other side's not covered yet, this will be the bottom surface of the wing. I just flipped it over just to put on some glue around the hinges. When I'm working out, it's nice to have some glue that's set up. Need a little bit more there. Got my wet rag over my pot. So I'm gonna cup that there. So I just need a bit of wet glue. Makes it a lot easier to cut. And with everything Stewart Systems, just wipe off the rubbish, which also pushes the glue in. Now this is not a Stewart System promotional video on how to cover things. I leant over before, I've actually done my back. I leaned over to the middle of the table and just grabbed this lightest thing here. I've been lifting aeroplanes and engines. I lifted up a 2-pound tailplane and I've tweaked my back. Thanks for the sympathy, guys, but we'll push on. I'm just finishing the other side. I'll show you that if I can flip her over. So I'm just rolling those edges in. I didn't put enough glue on the inside lip, so I've done that. Just bear with me, I know it looks a bit how you're going. I'm still working on that trailing edge. I've finished the leading edge. See how it's all tucked in nice all the way down. Then we'll do a pre-shrink at 250 on this side, and ready to lay the next skin once I get these wing tips cut and yeah, just rolled in. What I mean by that, so you need some glue down under there, and then once you cut it, iron it down, sticks really nice. But you got to have the glue there first. All right, flipped it over, about to give it the first shrink. I did around the hinges, that worked well. You can see the fabric's fairly floppy. We'll tighten that down, and then we'll maybe lay some fabric on this side. At least run a bead of glue and let that dry, and we'll see how we go. We'll hit it with the iron. All right, that'll do for today. So we're ready to put on, so that's the bottom surface. There's nothing on this side. So it'll go under, come around and tack nicely into that. I'm putting it on a thicker edge of glue. I just did a pencil line and painted it around. Interesting to note that fabric doesn't touch the ribs. Now I'm not sure, it says to run the fiberglass tape and then rivet through it, but then the glue won't soak through and touch the rib. The fiberglass tape will make it sort of waterproof. But yeah, work something out there. It does look, it looks wonky. That's just because of all the gussets, and that's just the way it is, a warbird, I guess. But really happy so far. It's obviously still nice and flat. I won't pick it up. Yeah, so I got that done. Also the weld has been in. Loaded up my foot peg. I've just primed that, ready to, just with a brush, and I'll brush on some just fiddly bits of enamel. Brush that on there, and the four tabs at the front. It's just annoying if you're an aircraft manufacturer. Do this stuff, please. So now I can hang a fuel tank, pretty sort of essential, and hopefully I can get in. Feels really, feels solid over time. If it was an everyday aircraft, like a Cherokee or Cessna or one of those vintage things, you'd probably want to beef it up a bit more. My welder told me that he's forever fixing. On a Cirrus, I think they hang down low. They're always cracking. Not a great deal of foot traffic on this particular aircraft, I wouldn't imagine. That's where we're at. I'm going home to rest the back a bit, but I'll be back tomorrow. All right, back out here this morning, guys. Conveniently, the power's gone off just as I got here. I did check my emails, 9 to 11, so the power's off for maybe an hour or 2 hours. So I'll do what I can in the dark. Actually, I've got to paint my footstep. Put some paint on there. I'll finish masking these up. That'll probably take me a little bit. I've just put, so this is going to be the top surface. I've put a layer of the tape on this side, which might please a few people. I tried to actually, you can, this was the tape, quite easily slip a piece under and stick it on the bottom. The reason I'm not doing that is then you can't really find the holes, because I haven't final shrunk this. So if I was to pinprick through my fabric into the hole and then shrink it, the hole in the fabric could potentially move. Now it's the bottom. Now what I'm getting on about is, see the fabric naturally, and I covered this when I built the center section, when you got two different size tubes. I think you got 1 inch and 3/4. So you got an 1/8 inch difference. And sure enough, the fabric wants to sit an 1/8 inch high. Now I'm not sure, I know others sort of don't worry about it, but what's going to happen, yeah, the covering's going to balloon between the rivets. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens there, I guess, just on the stab. I think the tail plane will be okay because it's got these folded ribs which are high, so you get 100% coverage there, which is why I did that. This one might miss out a little bit. It'll sort of taper down and the rudder will be fine, maybe the last one. So it's mainly just the tail plane. Also areas like where the teardrops go, yeah, you want, I know you can glue it down, but what will happen is it'll glue in some areas and other areas will lift, and you end up with this, it'll look like a 2-year-old's done it, because I watched the Stewart video and he loves the word pucker. You get a pucker, we've got a pucker happening. So, you know, you might glue this and it'll be held down, and then there'll be certain areas that don't glue. It's like if this was wet glue now and I ran the covering, you could glue before the 12 o'clock position, which would give you an indentation, if you like, and you wouldn't be able to pop it off. So you have to be very careful. So just trying to get it as neat as I can. I've got low spots everywhere, and the covering naturally just wants to sit off. Like on the other side might be easier to explain. All right, we're sort of up. It's not too bad. Now the other thing I've come across, the next step is to run the fiberglass tape, run the soldering iron through and rivet it. But the fiberglass tape will act as a bit of a barrier to the glue, and then we'll have a 2-inch tape over everything and all around the circumference. So I think what I'll do is brush on, like if it's 1/4 inch tape, I'll brush on a little bit bigger than 1/4 inch, 8mm, whatever wide paintbrush I've got, inside the 2-inch. It's going to end up at 2 inches. Bear in mind, this whole thing is going to end up this aqua colour. For those who don't know, the whole tail plane will end up aqua. You thin the glue down 3 to 1 and brush it into the weave. So any scummies or anything like that, it's not an issue, as long as you wipe them off so it's flat. So yeah, all I'm getting at is that 1/4 inch tape. I'm looking around for some. It's fiberglass tape. If I put that on first and then cover it in glue, there'll be no glue. The fabric won't be glued to the rib, which is you want it glued if you can. So I think I run let's call it a 1/2 inch stripe of glue, lay the tape, run the rivets, then we'll do our 2-inch bandage. Or do I paint the whole thing aqua now No, follow the system. Follow the system. Don't change it to suit me. So normally I'd have well, I've still got my phone. I'll follow along on the Stewart Systems build video if you like, and it's working so far.